What if the most important trade route you've never heard of, one that bypasses both Russia and China, runs through a country most people can't find on a map? That country is Kazakhstan, and the materials moving through it, tungsten, uranium, rare earths, are in your phone, your electric vehicle battery, and every advanced weapon system the West builds. Here is what we are covering today. The route that went from 500,000 tons to 4.1 million in 3 years. Why the US and EU are suddenly investing billions. And the uncomfortable truth about Kazakhstan's dependence on Russia that nobody wants to talk about. Let's start with the map. For decades, if you wanted to move goods from China to Europe by land, you had one real option: Russia, the Trans-Siberian Railway, running through Moscow, controlled by Russian railways, subject to Russian politics. When Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, and Western sanctions followed, that single land route between Asia and Europe became politically unusable overnight. Shipping companies needed an alternative. They found one. Through the middle of the world, literally. Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Turkey. A route that crosses the Caspian Sea, cuts through the Caucasus Mountains, and reaches European markets without touching Russian territory. It is called the Middle Corridor, and before 2022, almost nobody used it. In 2021, 500,000 tons. By 2024, 4.1 million tons, an increase of more than 700% in 3 years. But before you think this is a done deal, here is the catch. That 4.1 million tons, it is less than 5% of what Russia moves annually across its entire rail network, and a fraction of what the Northern Corridor carries between China and Europe specifically. And the share of containerized cargo has actually gone down since the war started, from 12.8% to 8.5%. The corridor is growing, but it is mostly moving bulk commodities, not the high-value goods the West actually needs. We will come back to that. First, the reason the West is suddenly paying attention. China currently controls approximately 60% of global rare earth mining and over 85% of rare earth processing. Every electric vehicle battery, every wind turbine, every semiconductor, every advanced weapon system, all of them depend on materials that China refines and sells to the world on its own terms. Washington and Brussels have been searching for an alternative for years. Kazakhstan is the answer nobody fully noticed. Kazakhstan is the world's leading producer of uranium. It holds the world's largest reserves of chromium. It has significant deposits of tungsten, tantalum, titanium, copper, and rare earth elements. And in 2025, geologists identified a major prospective rare earth area in Kazakhstan. Preliminary estimates suggest it could contain up to 935,400 tons of rare earth oxides, potentially placing Kazakhstan among the world's largest holders of rare earth reserves. The chief geologist was careful to note, this is not yet a confirmed deposit. It is a prospective area with forecast resources. But that scale, even as a prospect, has already captured Washington, Brussels, and Tokyo. Kazakhstan's President Tokayev has called critical minerals the country's new oil. Here is why that matters to you personally. Those materials, tungsten, uranium, rare earths, don't just power your phone. They power every renewable energy system your country is building. And right now, almost all of them are processed in China. Here is what the investment flows reveal. In November 2025, Kazakhstan and the United States signed a Memorandum of Understanding on Critical Minerals in Washington in the presence of President Tokayev himself. The same week, a $1.1 billion agreement was signed with US-based Cove Capital to develop Kazakhstan's tungsten deposits. In April 2025, the European Union endorsed a Kazakhstan roadmap for 2025 to 2026 at the first-ever EU Central Asia Summit. In March 2026, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance visited Central Asia specifically to deepen the critical minerals partnership. This is not aid. This is supply chain strategy. The West is not investing in Kazakhstan because it believes in Kazakhstan's development. It is investing because China controls the materials the clean energy transition depends on. And Kazakhstan is the most credible alternative supplier with an existing route to Western markets. Remember that $1.1 billion tungsten deal? Here is what it actually represents. Washington has learned the hard way that pledges alone will not break Beijing's rare earth monopoly. Kazakhstan offers what most mining countries do not: the geology, the business environment, and the infrastructure to exploit it. Here is what is happening on the ground. Kazakhstan's Caspian ports, Aktau and Kurik, are being transformed. Container handling capacity is being expanded from 80,000 to 300,000 20-foot containers per year by 2029. For context, actual container volumes in 2024 were approximately 50,500 TEU. The target is ambitious. The gap is enormous. At Kurik Port, dredging operations running from January to June 2026 are deepening the port's access channel to 5 meters, enabling year-round navigation for the first time. 6 ferries are being added on the Kurik to Alat route, with the first 2 entering service in the first half of 2026. The Darbaza-Maktaral Railway, a critical missing link, is scheduled for completion in 2026. And at Stepnogorsk, a former Soviet rare earth processing facility is being redeveloped as a joint venture between Kazakhstan's Kazatomprom and Japan's Sumitomo Corporation. If it reaches full operation, it becomes the first significant rare earth processing facility outside China, integrated into a Western-aligned supply chain. But there is a problem. Actually, 4 problems. We will get to those now. The middle corridor is not working as well as its promoters claim. The original 2022 target was 15 million tons by 2025. The actual figure reached 4.1 million tons in 2024. Myth: Kazakhstan is replacing Russia. Fact: 65 million tons of Kazakh oil still flow through Russian pipelines every year. Problem 1: volume. The corridor carries a fraction of Russian rail capacity. Problem 2: containerization declining. The share of containerized cargo fell from 12.8% to 8.5% after 2021. The corridor is moving more bulk cargo, not more high-value goods. Problem 3: Georgia. Georgia is the corridor's only current gateway to Europe. Its existing ports are nearing capacity exhaustion. The new Anaklia deep sea port, identified by the World Bank and EU as a critical priority, has seen repeated delays and funding shortfalls, with no clear completion date in sight. Without Anaklia, the entire middle corridor hits a wall at the Black Sea. Problem 4: coordination. The middle corridor requires synchronized operations across Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey. 4 countries with different regulatory systems, different customs procedures, and different relationships with Russia. That coordination has historically been the corridor's biggest weakness. And this next part, the Russia part, is where the story gets uncomfortable. Kazakhstan still exports 65 million tons of oil per year through Russia. By 2030, Kazakhstan's oil production is expected to reach 105 to 110 million tons per year. Even with the middle corridor expanding, the overwhelming majority of Kazakhstan's energy exports will still flow through Russia for years. Kazakhstan is not replacing Russia. It is carefully, gradually reducing dependence, while maintaining the relationship it cannot afford to lose. Russia is watching every kilometer of new infrastructure being built. The middle corridor is Kazakhstan's insurance policy, not its escape route. Let's play this out. Worst case, Russia puts pressure on Kazakhstan through the Caspian Pipeline Consortium. Kazakhstan's oil export options narrow. The middle corridor expansion stalls. Best case, the corridor hits 15 million tons by 2030. The Zhana Kazakhstan rare earth discovery is confirmed. Stepnogorsk becomes a genuine processing hub. The West has a real alternative to Chinese supply chains, most likely case, something in between. But here is what matters. The infrastructure being built right now, the dredged ports, the new railways, the processing facilities, that is permanent. Even if the corridor never fully replaces Russia, even if the rare earth deposit takes a decade to confirm, Kazakhstan has positioned itself at the center of a geopolitical shift that is not going to reverse. 2021, 500,000 tons. 2024, 4.1 million tons. 2026, dredging complete, new ferries launching. 2029, 300,000 TEU capacity target. 2030, Kazakhstan still moving 90% plus of oil via Russia. Kazakhstan stopped waiting. It started building. For decades, Kazakhstan's geography condemned it to dependence on its neighbors. Now that same geography, sitting at the center of the only land route between China and Europe that bypasses Russia, is its greatest asset. But the corridor that could break China's grip on critical minerals still moves mostly bulk cargo, still runs through Georgian ports nearing capacity with no serious replacement in sight, still carries a fraction of what it needs to carry. Kazakhstan has the resources the world needs. It has the route the world wants. Whether it can deliver both, at the scale and speed the West is demanding, is the question the dredging ships cannot answer yet. We cover the infrastructure the world depends on, and the country's betting everything on being in the middle of it. Every week on the